Hey, Adam the Bull, how you doing, buddy? It's gotta hurt, Bull. Everything you said today about Evan Mobley and Darius Garland and Isaac Okoro came right back to bite you in the ass. It was a masterclass from the Cavaliers on both ends of the court. Everyone who played contributed, and the Cavaliers have tied up the series at one game apiece against the Boston Celtics. Game 1, they lose by 25. Game 2, they win by 24. And they head back to Cleveland now, technically with home court advantage. The series is tied up at one game apiece, and we'll break it down all coming up for you right now on the Ultimate Cavaliers Show. It is incredible how different I feel in this moment as soon as the final buzzer sounded following game 2 than I did when the final buzzer sounded in game 1. A 24-point swing for the Cavaliers, losing by 26 point swing, lost by 25 in game 1, win by 24 in game 2. Today on both ends of the court was exactly, and I mean exactly, what you could hope for if you were a Cavaliers fan. This team played with heart, with aggression, with pace offensively, with grit on defense. J.B. Bickerstaff called an out-of-timeout play to start the fourth quarter that was drawn up to perfection. That was Ty Lue level stuff. Donovan Mitchell made shots. Darius Garland made shots. Max Strus made shots. Okoro made shots. Levert made shots. Evan Mobley played the best half of basketball he may have ever played in his entire career. We'll break that all down coming up. But tonight was a masterclass from your Cleveland Cavaliers. Just like I said after game 1, one game does not determine a series. The series was not over when Boston dominated game 1. And just because the Cavs dominated game 2 doesn't mean they are in control of this series moving forward. The playoffs are a roller coaster. There are ups, there are downs, there are ebbs, there are flows. And tonight was Cleveland's night, and Boston did not play well whatsoever. But for the 48 minutes of basketball on this Thursday night, on May 9th, this was the best 48 minutes of basketball the Cleveland Cavaliers have played, not just this postseason, but about J.B. Bickerstaff, by the way, his first career road playoff win. So kudos to Coach Bickerstaff for finally picking that up. The team eclipsed the 100-point barrier. They held the Celtics to fewer than 90 points, which they scored. They were one of the highest scoring teams in basketball throughout the entire regular season. I can imagine they scored less than 90, probably 3 or 4 times all season, if that. I'll look up the number for you guys tomorrow on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. But on both ends of the court, that was a terrific effort from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Couple things I want to point out. We'll start with Evan Mobley. I'll go to Donovan Mitchell. We'll talk about Darius Garland and the other contributors. We'll talk about what this means moving forward into games 3, 4, and 5. But it's a hell of a win. And playoff wins, especially on the road, especially when you're a 13-point underdog, are difficult to come by. So for the next 48 hours until tip-off in Game 3, enjoy the living hell out of this. Talk your shit on Twitter. Text all your friends in Boston. Tell them they suck. Enjoy it. They are tough to come by, and when it happens, soak it in and live in the moment. Let's start with Evan Mobley because he was the guy who set the tone for the Cavaliers early in this one. I tweeted out at halftime. Evan Mobley at half had 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. I don't know exactly what the block numbers were, but he was contesting and impacting shots that Boston was taking in the paint time after time after time. And it was funny because on today's show, on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, I yelled at Bull. And me and Bull, we get into it sometimes, but I actually yelled at Bull today when he said, well, Evan Mobley can't impact the game defensively like he did against Orlando, against a good offensive team like the Celtics. And I said, that's ludicrous, Bull. That's outrageous. That's why people listen to me when it comes to basketball and not you. I love you, Bull, but we know the reality. Just check the numbers. We got 1,000 people in here already. I bet you there's 15 watching Bull's show right now. But we love Bull. So I yell at Bull. We get into it, and me and Jayson are looking at each other when Bull's saying these things about Evan Mobley on the defensive end of the court. We'll get to the offense in a sec, but on the defensive end of the court, they just think we're blasphemous. And tonight, early on, from the get-go, on the first 2 possessions of the game, Evan Mobley gets a hand on a Jaylen Brown shot, forces a miss at the rim, and then he blocks Jayson Tatum. Now, he got called for the foul, but he had contested and forced Jayson Tatum to take a different shot than he wanted. A little ticky-tack foul, whatever. But that gets in the back of Jayson Tatum's head. And the next time he tries to drive against Evan Mobley, he has second thoughts. And he didn't get to the rim with the same ease and the same ferocity after that initial play the rest of the game. That's what Evan Mobley does. Now, offensively, it was the aggression, guys. He had 11 points in the first quarter. With Evan, it's not physical. It's mental. It seems like he thinks so often. And that's what makes him so frustrating, because you see at points and at stretches that the physical ability to score and be more aggressive and be a competent part of a high-functioning offense in the NBA are there. He has the requisite touch. Yeah, he's a little bit awkward. He's kind of like Bambi, but he's still young. He has the ability to shoot jump shots. He has the ability to finish with his left hand and his right hand. He's athletic enough to dunk over guys. He's not strong enough yet. That's a big issue. But he's not afraid to try and go up. He has all the requisite skills. It's mental. And Jason and I on the Ultimate Cavs show yesterday talked about how do you get Evan Mobley to show the aggression in the fourth quarter he did of game one early on in this one. And I don't know exactly what JB Bickerstaff or Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland or whoever in that locker room said to Evan before the game. But whatever they said, it worked, because Evan came out and on 2 of the first 4 Cavs possessions, he was the guy putting up a shot attempt. He was the aggressor early. And just like in any sport, when you get things rolling and your confidence builds from the get-go, the rest of the game becomes easy. And once Evan saw his first 2 shots go down, he's like, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And a really underrated part of Evan Mobley's game is his passing. And bad job out of me, honestly. Bad job out of a lot of us who, when we talk about Evan Mobley's offensive game, we just focus on the shooting and the scoring. The Cavs don't feature Evan Mobley enough as a facilitator in this offense. They don't run any sets that start with Evan Mobley at the high post where he's making decisions to pick off the defense. We showed you a play on the Ultimate Cavs show last week against the Orlando Magic. It was game 5 where they ran a backdoor play to start the fourth quarter where Mobley hit DG on a backdoor cut. The weak side defender was spaced in the corner because Marcus Morris was there, and Mobley threw a dime for a Darius Garland layup. He had 5 assists in the first half tonight. He ended up with he only finished with 5 assists. All 5 came in the first half. But when they run offense through him, there's other ways to get him involved. There's other ways to use his offensive skill set to maximize your overall offensive production. Evan played 33 minutes tonight. He was a plus 35 in his 33 minutes. The Cavs won by 24. He was a plus 35 in his 33 minutes. That was the second best on the team, only behind Donovan Mitchell, who was a plus 38 in 39 minutes. We'll talk about Donovan in a sec. But Evan, when he sets the tone like he did tonight, and he's aggressive from the get-go, in the first quarter especially, it adds another element that the defense has to focus on, which opens up shooting and opens up space for Darius, Donovan, Strus, Levert to operate. You can't just leave Mobley by himself on an island, or you can't just leave your big on him one-on-one. You can't consciously switch high pick and rolls because you know Evan won't do anything if they feed the post on the big little mismatch. So Evan being aggressive early is what set the tone for the rest of the Cavs to make their moves offensively. The Cavs needed it in game 1. They didn't get it. They got it tonight, and you see the end result. They need the same aggression Evan showed from the get-go to start the game in games 3, 4, 5, and if it goes 6, if it goes 7. The Cavs are not going to reach their full potential with a healthy Jared Allen, without a healthy Jared Allen, all the injuries aside, without Evan Mobley giving them more offensively. And it's frustrating. And granted, it's frustrating because we see what he did tonight, and you expect and you want it on a nightly basis, and he just hasn't produced at that consistent level at this point of his career yet. And that's frustrating as hell. But the potential's there, and it's more mental than it is physical. But tonight, on the road against the number 1 team in the NBA, Evan Mobley in the first half was the best player on the court. And when he's the best player on the court, the Cavs are a damn dangerous team. I want to give Donovan Mitchell a shout out. I'm not sure if you guys picked up on this, but Donovan finished with 29 points, I believe. He scored 23 of the 29 in the second half. He pulled a LeBron move in the first half today. He came out and he saw in game 1, okay, I had to score almost all of our points to hang around with Boston. In game 6 and 7 against Orlando, he had 89 points, the second most ever in games 6 and 7 combined. The offense was all on his shoulders. Donovan knows he can't beat the Celtics 1-on-5. He knows that. No player in the NBA is going to beat a good team like Boston 1-on-5 4 out of 7 times. You could do it one night. Maybe Mitchell could go off for 60, but you're not going to do it over the course of a series and win 4 out of 7 games. So what Donovan did in this one was early on, he was a facilitator. He let Evan Mobley and attempted to get Evan Mobley in the offense. Darius didn't have an aggressive first half, but he tried to get Darius going by playing facilitator. He did the LeBron. You guys get your confidence. You guys make some shots. You guys get going, and when push comes to shove, I'll put you guys on my back because I'm fresh. I wasn't worn down by the first half, and I'll be the tough shot maker when it comes to crunch time. And LeBron did that time after time after time here in Cleveland. He did it in Miami. He does it with the Lakers all the time now. And Donovan took a play out of his playbook, tonight in his performance against the Boston Celtics. He had 6 first-half points. That's it. The Cavs were tied with the Celtics 54-54, despite Mitchell having 6 points in the first half and Darius Garland having 5. They were 4 of 10 combined from the field in the first half. And they were still tied because other guys, mainly Evan Mobley and Caris Levert, had things going. And then the second half comes. In the third quarter, Donovan Mitchell explodes for 18 points. He is at his best when he sees a 3 go down and the defense is playing some semblance of drop coverage, giving him space to come off a screen with the head of steam. He is damn near impossible to stay in front of in those situations. And tonight, he was weaving in and out of the defense. He was hitting step-back jumpers despite the bum knee. He's still getting just enough elevation on the jump shot to finish over the outstretched arms of a Jayson Tatum or a Jaylen Brown or a Derrick White. And he was magnificent in the second half. The difficulty on the shots he makes on a regular and consistent basis is absurd. Do not take that shot making for granted. There are a handful, and I'm talking less than 10 players in the league that can make those kind of shots as frequently as Donovan Mitchell does. And it bails you out of so many bad offensive possessions. Donovan was incredible in the second half, and I think part of the reason he had the energy and stamina to go off in the second half like he did was in the first half, he was content letting other guys take and make buckets. He was a facilitator first and not a scorer, but a killer in the second. And that might be the Cavs' best chance at long-term success against this Boston Celtics team. Darius Garland didn't have a great first half, but in the third quarter, just like Donovan, he brought his best effort forward. He hit 3 threes in the third quarter. One, as soon as Boston kept it close, it was 64-63. Darius hits a 3, 67-63. Donovan comes down and hits a 3, 70-63. They get another stop. Darius hits another 3 and makes it a 9-point lead. And next thing you know, Boston has to call a timeout. Garland also hit Isaac Okoro on a backdoor cut coming off a pick and roll that forced the Celtics to take a timeout at 74-63. That was the game right there. That was the game. And it came down to picking and choosing Donovan and Darius' times to go off. This was a small sample size, and I'm not going to blow anything up bigger than it has to be. But in the small sample size tonight, in that third quarter, you saw what the full potential of the Donovan and Darius backcourt could be. That is, in a dream scenario, what the Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland backcourt looks like in its peak. 2 elite, and I mean elite talented guards. Now, not elite in terms of production, but elite in terms of skill set, at least for Darius Garland. Picking and choosing, probing through the defense, driving and kicking, driving and creating for themselves and others. The defense can't focus in on one half of the court on Donovan because he'll swing to the other side, and then Darius has a 3-on-2 advantage on the backside, and vice versa. That is what Kobe Altman and JB Bickerstaff envisioned when they paired those two together. We've seen bits and pieces, and I'm talking tiny, tiny, tiny evidence that pairing can work at the highest levels. Tonight may have been the best example of what on a perfect night that backcourt pairing is supposed to look like. It is too few and far between to make any kind of conclusion that this backcourt can work together long term. It was one quarter. You can't blow it up more than it has to be. But what you saw in the third quarter is what the Cavs envisioned when they paired Donovan Mitchell with Darius Garland. And when it works, it's a thing of beauty. When it doesn't, we all know what it can look like, and it's not so great. But in the third quarter tonight, it was perfect. The Cavs scored 36 points in the third quarter. Donovan had 18. Darius had 11. They both combined to have 12 assists in this game. 8 for Donovan, 4 for Darius. They each had 7 rebounds. For the game, the Cavs had 44 rebounds. The Celtics had 31. The Cavs lost the rebounding battle in game 1. They won tonight by 13. What did I tell you all on the show today about rebounding? It's not the bigs, it's the guards. The Cavs, 3 guards in this matchup. Strus, Garland, Mitchell, 20 rebounds between the 3. The 3 guards for the Celtics, Holiday, White, and Jaylen Brown, they had 10. The Cavs guards, who are all small, all 3 of the Cavs guards are smaller than all 3 of the Celtics guards, out-rebounded Boston 20-10. Little things like that add up to winning basketball in the playoffs. The Cavs did it tonight. They did not do it in game 1. They will have to do it in games 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 to have any chance of beating the Boston Celtics. From a defensive standpoint, I thought the Cavs did a pretty good job forcing Boston to take the shots that the Cavs wanted them to take. Listen, Boston shot like ass. 33-80 from the floor for a 41.3% field goal percentage. They were 8 of 25 for a 23% clip from behind the arc. They made 20 of 24 free throws. But all in all, the Cavs forced Boston to take some difficult shots around the rim. Yeah, they missed a bunch of shots from the perimeter. It happens. They had a bad shooting night. The Cavs have had plenty of bad shooting nights this postseason. Tonight was Boston's turn to miss a bunch of shots. And it's really difficult, as we mentioned against Orlando, from the Cavs' perspective, if you're not making shots, it's difficult to play defense. So the final score of this game was a 24-point win for the Cavs. If Boston made a couple threes, I don't think it would have gotten that big of a lead and stretched out that far, but credit to the Cavs. The Boston Celtics never made threes from beyond the arc. Peyton Pritchard had like 3 or 4 good looks in the fourth, missed them. Derrick White couldn't buy a bucket after having historic shooting performances over the last 3 playoff games he had performed in. He was the first Celtic ever in playoff history to have 5 or more threes in 3 straight playoff games. Tonight, he was not good. His final tally tonight, he was 1 of 8 from beyond the arc, 10 points. He was a minus 27 from the floor. The Cavs did an awesome job keeping him out of rhythm. Yeah, he missed a couple easy ones, but it's going to happen. The Cavs had 60 points in the paint tonight, outscored Boston by 16 in terms of points in the paint. They fast break scored the Celtics 14-8. They had more points off turnovers than the Celtics. They had more assists than the Celtics. They had more rebounds than the Celtics. They made more threes than the Celtics. They made 14 more shots than the Celtics. This, ladies and gentlemen, was an ass kicking. It was a brutal domination of what was the best team in the NBA throughout the regular season. Boston at home in the regular season went 37-4. The Cavs just got them booed off their own home court because of how well they played tonight, and that's not something to scoff at. J.B. Bickerstaff coached his best game of the postseason. Evan Mobley played his best game. You could argue this was Darius's best game. Strus, Levert, they played pretty damn well too. Strus hit a couple threes late. This was a total team effort that culminated in a dominant win. After that third quarter stretch that I mentioned before with the back-to-back threes, the timeout, and then the Okoro backdoor layup, that was it. The Cavs had 3 players score 20 points tonight. Levert had 21. Mobley had 21. Mitchell had 29. All 5 starters in double digits. And Mitchell was the closer. Him and Emmanuel Clase. Handshake emoji. Elite Cleveland closers. Guys, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Cavs are going to win the series, just like I wasn't going to sit here after game 1 and say the Cavs were going to get swept. It was one playoff game. But the team we saw on the court tonight was eons, and I mean eons different than the team we saw in game 1 when they lost by 25. I'm not sure what the hell happened between game 1 and game 2. Urgency? It's not rest. Listen, they had 1 day off between game 7 and game 1. They had 1 day off between game 1 and game 2, so it's not a rest thing. I think it comes down to just executing better, making shots. The Cavs have one of their better three-point shooting outputs of the entire postseason. They were 13 of 28. And one thing about the threes, because while the numbers look good, they shot 47%, 46.5%, percent from beyond the line. One of the things the Cavs did, which I could see both sides of the argument, is they were very aggressive attacking the rim. And Jason Lloyd And my guy on Twitter, and I want to give him a shout out, but my guy Mobland at RackJack23, great Twitter follow if you're not following him, pointed out that they were aggressive, getting to the rim. They were turning down threes early, trying to force Boston to either foul, put pressure on the rim, create closeouts and rotation, or create rotations, then attack closeouts. I think that works, and tonight it worked great. Without Porzingis, the Celtics don't really have a true rim protector. Like Jayson Tatum's a pretty good shot blocker for a forward. So is Jaylen Brown. Derrick White has size. Jrue Holiday is a tough defender. But Al Horford isn't someone you're intimidated over when you're attacking the rim. The Cavs made it a conscious effort to get to the rim tonight. Attack, 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 attack. They weren't settling for threes early. A big reason why they had such a high clip from beyond the arc was a lot of those shots were wide-ass open because they forced the defense in and kicked it out. Yeah, a couple of them were incredible one-on-one plays from Donovan and Darius, but a lot of those shots were created off driving kicks. I said to Rob Jack, I said to Jason, well, in a game where Boston scores 88 points, you can live with only taking 28 threes because, frankly, there's just not a ton of counterproduction you're matching from Boston's side. In a higher scoring game, I do think you need to take more threes just so you can put up an even higher number on the scoreboard. We saw Boston score 125 in game one. The Cavs had 118 tonight. The winner of this series and the winner of each game in this series may be in the 115s to 120. So you're not going to always shoot 46% from three, 55% from the floor. More three-point attempts isn't necessarily a bad thing, but they didn't need it tonight. And the way to get good three-point looks is to continue to drive. I think the Cavs' best chance to win this series and the best chance to compete and score, and it's going to come down to keeping up with Boston. They played bad tonight. Listen, Boston did not play well. No part of their game tonight worked. JB outcoached Joe Mazzulla. Every player on the Cavs essentially outplayed every player on the Celtics. It was a horrible performance from the one seed. They'll play better in games 3, 4, and 5, and 6 and 7 potentially. It's just natural. It was their progression. They lost game 2 to the Miami Heat. They came out in games 3, 4, and 5 and beat the ever-living piss out of Miami. That could happen to Cleveland. It could not. Who knows? Miami doesn't have Donovan Mitchell. That's the biggest difference between the two teams. But in my opinion, their best chance to beat Boston on a consistent basis is run, get easy open looks in transition, and 2, continue to attack the rim, force the defense to collapse, and then kick out and pray Max Strus and Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell or Okoro or whoever it is in those situations can continue to make threes at a high clip. Because if you shoot 46% from beyond the arc and 55% from the floor, you should win a lot of playoff games regardless of who the opponent is. And if you hold your opponent to 94 points, you should win that game regardless of how your offense plays. So the Cavs got it done on both ends of the court tonight, guys. It was a hell of a performance. And Adam the Bull, take it like a man. I can't wait for the apology on the show tomorrow. G. Bush, we're going to need to hear an apology from you too. But to their defense, they played one bad game and one good game. So game 3 will be the determination of which way this Cavs team is going to go. But what's frustrating about the Cavs, and then I'll get to some of your fan comments here. I see we have 650, so we'll do what we can. I'm not obviously going to read all of them. But what's frustrating about the Cavs is not just Mobley and not just Darius or Okoro or Strus or whoever, JB Bickerstaff included, everyone outside of Donovan Mitchell. The frustrating part is this is in them. And they didn't show this at all against Orlando. Had they played like this tonight against Orlando, they beat the Magic 132 to 74. They beat the piss out of Orlando if they played like this tonight. And you see it for stretches. And you see it for one game, and then you don't see it for 2 games. And you see it in the fourth quarter when they're down 20, and then you don't see it in the first quarter of the next game. Consistency is the key word for the Cavs. And frankly, the key word should be inconsistency, because the only thing they've been consistent at is being inconsistent. Tonight they were great and celebrate it. But if they come out in game 3 and lay an egg, none of it matters. So whatever they did tonight, put it in a bottle, put it in the fridge, and chug that shit before game 3. Because it worked. And you're going to get a much better effort from Boston in game 3 than you saw tonight. But if the Cavs play like they did for 48 minutes, from start to finish, like they did in game 2, they can compete with Boston in every game this series. Boston's going to do different things. They'll make adjustments. They'll find their counters. They're a good basketball team, obviously. But in the playoffs, a lot of times, it comes down to we have to do what we do best and execute at a high level. And if we do that, the rest will take care of itself. And for the Cavs, that means Donovan being a closer. and continuing to make these difficult shots. That means Evan Mobley being aggressive from the get-go. That means Darius Garland taking what the defense is giving him, not just running the offense, but when it's time for him to attack with confidence and make Boston pay. For Isaac Okoro, that's making corner threes. For Max Strus, that's doing all the dirty and little things that lead to winning. Also making shots helps a lot, Max. Those threes late in the second half were crucial. Hopefully you can build on that. Caris Levert, we need another good performance from you off the bench. But if the Cavs play like they played today, they can beat anyone. It's a matter of getting that type of performance we saw in Game 2 over the course of an entire series. We'll see. Game 3 set for Saturday night, 8:30 tip here in Cleveland, and Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse will be rocking. All right, we got over 500 comments, so let's try to get a couple of these in here. I'll go 10 minutes tops. Scrolling all the way to the top. I got 3 super chats to start with. First one comes from Tomas Rugala. Let him know from Ireland, country of Celts. What a game and a huge dub for the Celtics. Wood Dog MTG says, please text Adam the Bull and tell him I said, shut up. Well, listen, we will talk to Bull tomorrow. Trust me. We'll talk to Bull. Curtis says, I'll have an aneurysm if JB plays George Niang anymore. Hey, George Niang, yeah, that's tough. George Niang had a -5 in 14 minutes tonight. He did have 4 points though. 4 points, 3 rebounds. It wasn't the worst George Niang game, but yeah, his minutes will definitely be hit or miss from here on out. I'm strolling to the top to start. Let's see what we can get in here, guys. I appreciate all you guys seeing. We got over 1,300 people in here right now. That is just special. You guys are the best. I see some usual suspects. Creative Juice says Saturday better be on ABC. I can tell you exactly what Saturday will be on. Hold on. Saturday it's an 8:30 tip, and the game is on ABC. It is the ABC 8:30 game. So make sure you tune in there. Michael says, of course this happens the night I graduate and couldn't watch. You may have to not watch the rest of them if that's how it's going to happen. But congratulations on graduating. Our guy Daryl says, nice win. Phil Bowman says, road win. The first of JB Bickerstaff's playoff career. Bull says, y'all got to chill sometimes. It was game 1 coming off a 7-game series. That's what I was saying. Each game is different. It's ebbs and flows, and we will have big picture discussions on the future of certain players and the future of certain coaches and general managers and all that when the series is over. But there's no point in having those discussions after game 1 in a 7-game series. Logan says, I need Mobley to play with this aggression every game. Yeah, they do. It's not even remotely close. They are so much better when Evan Mobley is aggressive. It opens up so much from their offense. Zach says, Bull reverse jinx the hell out of the Cavs. If only that's what he was trying to do. If only that's what he's trying to do. Wayne says, Cavs in 7. Let's see. Tyvis did get a bet on the show. He bet the series, not the win. So he bet the series, not the win. So he didn't win any money yet, but the odds have certainly gone down. He did call Cavs in 7. So we'll see. He's looking better than a lot of us. I picked Celtics in 6. So we will see. A lot of you guys piling in on Bull. Rightfully so. He deserves it. I hope you guys in the chat tomorrow. Dennis says that's the Evan Mobley we need all the time. Listen, when Evan Mobley, I go back to what I said earlier. You guys can rewind. When Evan Mobley plays like that, it opens up so many different things for this offense. Evan419 says it's weird what happens when Spider gets some help. Guys, I said it before. I'll say it again. One player can't win a playoff series. Go back to the game. It was game 1 of the 2018 finals, the game that J.R. Smith forgot to score, and obviously the Cavs lost to the Golden State Warriors. They ended up losing that series. That was the single best performance I've ever watched a player have. LeBron had, 50? I forget the final stat. He had a 50-point triple-double, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. There you go. That's it. It wasn't enough. One guy is not going to win a series. Let's go. Skinner said, I told y'all to relax. Going to be a long series. Yeah. Hey, once again, the goods and the bads. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs. Enjoy it. Like, seriously, enjoy it. But it's one game. Just like the loss was one game. We'll find out. Daryl's right. Smash the like button. I appreciate it. Mobley is so good on offense and defense. Thank you for yelling at McNuggets. Thank you for yelling at Bull today. He needed it. You're welcome. It felt good. I'll be honest. It felt good to yell at Bull today. I do love Bull, but I really do love Bull. Like trust me. Me and Bull are homies, but he pushes my buttons sometimes. So it is what it is. Let's see. Okoro had 12. Strus had 12. Levert had 21. Means we can't lose. If you're going to get 45 points from those three players, you should not lose. That is exactly the kind of support that Donovan Mitchell needs against a really good Celtics team that will not score 88 points again this series. I feel very confident in saying that. Let's see. Pavlos and Thomas says, I love UCSS, but every single one says the Cavs will get blown out. Watch them all say in the next episode how we have a chance now. Pavlos, I think I'm pretty honest and pretty real when I talk about the Cavs. I can't speak for everybody. I think for myself. I picked the Celtics in 6. After seeing game 1, I didn't think they were going to win tonight. I'll be honest. I didn't. I thought the Celtics were going to win. I thought the Cavs were going to take one at home in game 5 and lose game 6. I'm not going to run away from that. But I also didn't think this series was going to be a sweep. So I can't speak for everybody. But I can say, at least for myself, I wasn't getting too far down when they lost. I said, for the Cavs to win, they're going to have to play a perfect game and Boston have to miss shots. What happened tonight? The Cavs played a damn near perfect game. Boston couldn't hit a shot. That's basketball. That's why I love basketball. That's why a 16 seed could beat a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. That's why the Cavs can beat the Celtics in this series. That's why a team like the We Believe Warriors beat the number 1 seed Mavericks back. What year was that? Was that 2006? 2010, I think. Mr. King 562 says, you were high on Niang. He's barely a role player in the regular season. Yeah, he's been terrible. I can't. He's my guy. I like George a lot. He can't. Yeah, I have nothing to say. Like, you're right. He's been not good this postseason. Super good dude. I love talking to him. But yeah, it is. He has not been good this playoffs. Let's see. DJ Brobot says, about damn time we ran some new offensive sets instead of that dummy pick and roll. Hey, DJ Brobot, you know what's funny? Some of the Cavs' best sets come from Evan Mobley and Jared Allen in the high post. Some of their non-pick and roll stuff, when they run an offense through their bigs, they get away from the pick and roll stuff. When they run it through Garland and Mitchell and even Levert to an extent, it's primarily distraction action to get you into the pick and roll matchup they want. When they run the offense through Mobley or Allen, it allows them to do so much more. And I'm curious, and I don't know the answer to this, and I'm curious what you guys think. Give me a 1 in the chat if you think, a 1 if you think it's a coincidence, a 2 if you think it's, no. Screw it, that doesn't make sense. I'll just say what I'm going to say. I apologize. That made no sense. I am curious if when JB and the coaching staff sees Evan Mobley being aggressive early or Jared Allen being aggressive early, they feel more confident in running plays through them at the high post as opposed to when Evan's being passive and Jared's not calling for the ball down low. If they feel hesitant to try and run some of these other sets and other actions, they run some horns, they run some scissors stuff, and that all premeditates and starts from Mobley and Allen in the high post. I'm just curious if they have any hesitation to go to that, if they're not aggressive from the jump, and how much that changes their playbook and what they're comfortable calling if Mobley comes out like he did tonight. I don't know the answer. We haven't seen Mobley aggressive early enough to have a big enough data point, but I'm curious. Like I am. They still ran a ton of pick and roll, don't get me wrong, but they ran offense through Evan Mobley tonight in ways they hadn't, I would say, this entire postseason. And Mobley is a really, really, really underrated passer. Let's see. Big Daddy Biden, subscribe. Thank you. We appreciate the subscription. Hit the like button if you can. Let's see what else we got. Vernell says the Cavs shot like ass. The Cavs didn't shoot like ass, Vernell. 54% from the floor, 46 from three. That's impressive. G. Bush skipped out on dinner tonight by accident, which means G. Bush has to skip out on dinner every night if the Cavs are going to shoot threes like they did after he dipped out on dinner. They made a bunch of threes, 46%. That is impressive. All right, you guys are going back and forth. I don't understand a lot of this. There must be a conversation I'm missing. Book of Dog says Cavs in 5. Creative Juice says Cavs in 7. Donovan has 80 in Boston in game 7. Evan, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I laughed. I'm not going to lie. All right, guys, I think that is all the time we got. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I'm scrolling through the last of the comments. As always, hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We will spend a bunch of time tomorrow breaking down the Cavs' 24-point win over the Celtics. Soul Train says Donovan was clutch and huge in the second half. Oh, there are more super chats? Oh, there are. Hold on. I'll get through these ones more. SG says Boston fans are the worst. They are smarter than Pittsburgh fans. Tony Joe says take a mental trip with me. Allen comes back. CB donated $2. I appreciate that, CB. Jared Allen, I wish I had more information, guys. I trust me. I wish I had more information. They didn't need him tonight. Finey says tonight Derrick White can hit a donkey's ass with a banjo. And I think that's the appropriate comment to end the show on. You guys are the best. I appreciate all you guys so much. I see Redhead Stepchild says congrats on the anniversary. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll break this down more in depth tomorrow. Adam the Bull and G. Bush, the two biggest Cavs haters, are on the panel tomorrow. So if you want to see them eat crow for crapping all over Evan Mobley and this Cavs team, get your chance to do that tomorrow at 11 a.m. I appreciate you guys more than you know it. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.